Welcome. We're going to jump right into a 10-card Celtic Cross spread. All right. Let's do some shuffling of the Ever Trustworthy Tarot app. And I always do a little refresher when I get into this to explain that this is a app I wrote, and it runs on my own site, and it shuffles the deck, all 78 tarot cards, and allows us to do a full 10-card reading with all of the spread laid out for us to see, and we can click on the cards for more explanation if we need a little bit more information, that kind of thing. So why don't we start by shuffling a bit? I just, pressing the button once is sufficient. The cards will be shuffled. That's all you really need, but it's fully randomized, but I just do it a few times for fun. All right, I'm ready. I'm going to go right in the middle. Major Heart of the Concern. A Three of Wands comes out. That's interesting. Okay, let's go here for the crossing influence. Let's go here for the unconscious. Let's go here for the receding past influence. Let's go here for the conscious, what we tell ourselves, our self-advice. And let's go here for upcoming future. Let's go here for the outer social influence. Our self image, what we tell ourselves. Let's go here for outer social. Let's go here for hopes and fears. And our last 10th card, the likely outcome. Let's nail that one to the wall. Now, right away, the system here that analyzes the text of the final reading, it comes out with a tone of optimistic, which is the best. Optimistic. Okay, so this is a general reading. Now, let us consider it from the first card. Major concern, heart of the matter. This is sort of for the upcoming weekend, basically. We're looking at a number card. The Three of Wands marks the moment when accumulated inspiration and ideas begin to move into action and connect with the wider world. So we're going to put something into effect. We're going to start making something, or trying to, it doesn't mean making something, it means pursuing something, okay? We're taking some kind of action based upon something we've been preparing to do, wanting to do for a while. Now, the crossing, current obstacle, this is sort of a heavily influencing factor. The Page of Wands shows up, who is reversed. It may show the prolonged hesitation of self-doubt at the threshold of new creation, work, or love. What's holding you back? Has your preparation been adequate? So we're about to take, the heart of the matter is we're about to take some action. We're about to do something we've wanted to do, but now we're seeing that maybe we're not quite as prepared as we thought we were, and that is the issue we're dealing with. Why have we been a little irresponsible and flaky? So we've got to deal with that. Now let's move down to the third card. The root cause or unconscious factor in all of this for the next few days. The Seven of Cups reversed shows up. Can mean one is dwelling exclusively upon oneself and getting lost in a world of imagination, preventing emotional growth. So you're just not connecting You're not seeing the wider picture because you're self-absorbed in your own feelings. You may be sort of obsessing on them or on one particular feeling, and you're just not able to get anywhere. So you go round and around. It often has something to do with depression. And you need to get out of the house. You need to expand your horizons emotionally a little bit and do things that make you feel better. Do things that you enjoy to sort of wake your system up, get your heart out of the mothballs, so to speak. And that is an unconscious root here it's something that's going to influence us in trying to step out and take some actions that we really want to do and get past our little problems of being unprepared. Now, let's move to the fourth, the past fading influence. The high priest, he's a wise teacher. He's reversed, meaning that you might need to beware of falling under the spell of fanaticism or controlling behavior. So as you want to go out and put stuff into action, do something creative, do something or meet up with someone you really have strong feelings for, and you want to sort of expand and get out of your own obsessive emotional box you've been in, well, you may be dealing with some other factor or person that is perhaps not being such a great help, not giving you the best advice, being a little, maybe trying to tell you what to do and being a little sort of controlling about it, and maybe someone a little old-fashioned or just doesn't have really what it takes to give you what you need to get past your holdups in whatever it is you might be pursuing. Okay, so you got to kind of get out of that influence, and that's why the card is here in the 4 position. It's receding, so you're getting away from this kind of negative influence or poor lessons that really aren't useful. Now let's go up into the 5th position, which is conscious intention or self-advice. This is what you tell yourself that you know you darn well need to do or be. The 10 of Wands is reversed. Here we have the fire symbol again, the creative, passionate symbol, just like we started with the 3 of Wands. This is reversed. It can mean a clinging onto old accomplishments or desire that is burned out. Consider whether you are avoiding a new choice and a new path. You're tired. You want to rest on your laurels. You want to think about stuff that you've done before. You're just having trouble actually bringing something to completion. And basically what this is it's the self-advice position. So you're trying to tell yourself to avoid this kind of complacency, which is a good thing to be telling yourself when you've got the 3 of Wands as the main route that you're considering here, that you want to take some sort of creative action. You want the fire in your belly that motivates you to do the things you enjoy doing. You want that to propel you forward to actually do something. And this warning up here that you give yourselves, don't be complacent. What I did before is a good experience, but it's not something that I should really be focused on. I can't always be toasting myself with a glass of wine. Oh, great job. You did a great job there 6 months ago. You know what I mean? You got to move forward. Okay? That's what you're telling yourself here with this 5th position card. Moving into the 6th position, which is near future, we have a 7 of Wands. This indicates new inner visions and intuition leading toward higher goals and new achievements. This is an excellent card. Again, the wands showing up here. We've got a lot of wands right here. And now, here is our chance. New creative force, new willingness to listen to that inner voice. That's what this card here is saying. It's saying that this is coming up very quickly. It's going to be on your doorstep in the next day or two. So you're going to be able to find inspiration, to see the big picture and go, I see now what I can do, what I can accomplish. I can do this. This is a good feeling to have, inspiration. Let's go to the 8th, outer social influence. Okay, how we feel, how we assume others may be perceiving us, positive or negative. The Knight of Pentacles shows up, Knight of Coins, so to speak, who symbolizes the active spirit of one who seeks further material and physical success, taking new roads and seeking greater creativity. So here again now, we want to be seen as being able to put our creative energies to use and be successful. Maybe we want to be seen and respected for our writing or our ability to put together a fantastic event, or our ability to creatively find solutions to big problems in our business, or our ability to find ways of making the home or our relationship with loved ones stronger and more, bring interesting things in, so people enjoy life together more and more. That knight really knows how to go out and take action. So it's a very, very supportive mechanism for taking creative actions. But this is the card of how you kind of may assume or want other people to see you as. You want to live up to this knight character, this successful, active person. Let's go now. I skipped over the 7 position, which is personal self-image. These two cards work together, personal self-image and this outer social influence. The personal self-image here, how we talk about ourselves inside, how we see ourselves when we look in the mirror. 4 of Swords, very solid, dependable, rational, a basis for ideas. Your mind is strong and balanced. That's how we see ourselves. We see ourselves as having this innate, solid intellect that can handle whatever is thrown at it. Nothing stops us. That's basically how we want to see ourselves. This is kind of an intellectual thing that we're leaning here. Even though we want to do things creatively in this reading, we're now saying, okay, this guy in the mirror or this woman in the mirror can really take care of business and will not suffer fools, can handle conflict, can, help where help is needed, can build a solid foundation for any activity or business or anything that needs getting done. So this is interesting how we may be thinking of ourselves, even while trying to be very creative and more intuitive. Okay, so we've got that. We've looked at that outer social with the knight, how other people may think of us, and our inner image with the 4 of Swords. Now, let's go up to 9, hopes and fears. Ace of Cups signals the filling of the heart, gathering of emotional energy in preparation for a new cycle or new love. Okay, this is what we're wanting here, obviously. We are hoping that whatever it is we're seeking to do and whatever barrier or hesitancy we're trying to break through to do something in the next few days and to sort of rise above our resistances and see more inspiration and ignore some, poor teaching or some help that wasn't help that we've had to deal with in the past, and being a little bit too self-involved with maybe feeling a little down about things recently, to get out of ourselves, get inspired, get out and make something. And what we're hoping this leads to is a new sort of feeling of contentment and love for what we do, and a good feeling about ourselves. That's the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups indicates that, yes, we have a sense that The potential here is enormous for feeling really, really happy about what we're up to. That's our hope. Now let's move over to the last card, the 10th card. The likely outcome. Ace of Swords. We have two aces up here near each other, okay? Intellect again shows up. Just like when we were looking in the mirror down in the personal self-image and seeing ourselves as very solid and dependable. Up here, we have the ace now. The gathering thoughts in preparation for action. The time for consideration and planning. On the intellectual level. So, the outcome, whatever it is what we're going to do, that we're going to achieve, that we're going to make, any new thing, activity we do in the next short while, it's going to lead us to this feeling that, oh my gosh, I really think that this is going to lead me to feeling really great about what I'm up to. And we have a lot of capacity moving forward for basically, figuring our life out, figuring out what it is that we really need to be doing, how to put our success and make it grow, how to make another success, how to plan. It's basically saying we're going to now have the ability, because of some successful action, because of something that keeps us inspired and enjoying what we're doing, that we now have the ability to say, okay, now I can think about various other plans. I can make bigger plans. I have bigger ideas now. If you're in business, this sword, this Ace of Swords could mean that now you realize that you have this ability to make such and such thing for your business. You did it. You put it all together. Now you can sit down and go, okay, so where does this take us? This means that we can do more now. On an individual level, it means you can do more. You can go on a bigger adventure. You can meet more people. You can do something really exciting in your relationship. You can go and start looking at a new home or a new job. All these ideas and plans start percolating. Now, what's interesting is the fifth position, conscious self-advice that we discussed earlier, has an effect of modifying this 10th final outcome. So that self-advice we give us, where I said we're trying to warn ourselves not to cling to our old accomplishments, that works very well as a modifier on our outcome, because it says, look, keep reminding myself that I don't want to rely on old successes. I don't want to clam up and withdraw into my little personal, like, I am great at this and I don't ever have to really work too hard again. Laziness and self-congratulatory nonsense. I have to avoid that, because I've got to be able to plan now for the next things that I'm now in a position to do. I can enjoy myself. I'm doing what I really like to do here. And I'm going to sit down and discuss, or even if it's just mull it over in my own head, where to go next and how this all can be used for beneficial purpose. Hi, Kayali. How are you? This has been a 10-card Celtic Cross reading, general reading for the purpose of kind of getting a little sliver through an open door into the next week or so as possible inspiration point. That's sort of what it is. That's what's been going on. And what was the next thing I wanted to do here? I gotta find this. Hang on a minute. I can never remember what tab I'm supposed to be on with these darn things. Hold on. All right. And I opened up a queue, and that means that I can do reading. I actually, whenever I read the 10 card Celtic Cross, I actually really enjoy it. That's why I built the app to use it, because it's so involved with these different angles looking at things. You can make up interesting spreads on your own for tarot readings. You can say, okay, so you can do all kinds of things. You can say, okay, well, I'm going to do a reading where I'm going to, put a card down in the center, and that is sort of my main focus of the day. And then I can put a card, up top on the left above it and say, this is morning energy or thought. And then I can put a card up top on the right and say, this is afternoon thought, and then come down to the bottom and put one down and say, this is an evening thought around dinner time, and then another card down in the lower right corner and say, this is the final thought of the day right before falling asleep. You can do readings like that. That you can invent spreads. And so the another thing that I keep reminding myself about tarot, which I can't claim to be any kind of expert at, is the idea of being flexible and very imaginative with spreads, and just being able to flexibly make them up depending on what the situation is. How would it be appropriate to read this particular question or subject matter, and just let that moment inspire it, because that's what tarot is. It's all about finding the momentary relationship, the momentary how things align in this exact moment is sort of where you want to put the mind. So, I left an old person in the queue. Oh, I thought I opened the queue, didn't I? I could swear I opened the queue. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I just needed to, these things, when you're doing things that involve streaming and screens, they're still a little hodgepodge, basically. You have to be careful. You have to get things set up in a way where it doesn't confuse you in the moment. And that's what I've tried to do today. I simplified my setup. Instead of using two screens, I'm using one now, to make it so I don't miss things that are happening by being focused on the wrong thing. So it's easy to lose your focus on technical things when you're doing tarot readings. It's very difficult because tarot gets you very much into the moment. You're right there in the moment, and so that conflicts with having to take care of little button presses and things. So yeah, I have to be careful. shuffling the deck. Getting the tarot ready for its performances on the tarot stage. I was working earlier for a while on my tarot deck of cards that I've been making. I began work on a deck about, is it 2 years ago now? I think it might be about a year and a half ago, maybe. And I started an approach that I thought had potential. And it involved objects and photographing them and then working with those photographs and going over them with artistic means, And I think I did the Fool. I did the Magician. I did the Emperor, I did the Empress. And it involved cutting out of paper. It involved translucent papers like tracing papers. It involved paints and pencils and objects and stones and things like that. And it was an interesting idea. However, I didn't quite like the outcome somehow. There's something interesting about it, but I wasn't satisfied. And then I put it down, but I was always mulling it over, coming back to it all. And I almost came back to it and I was like, I'll start setting those things up again. I'll do the next card. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to, I don't want to work that way at all. I just want to draw. I want to draw the deck. I want it to be hand drawn. I'm not going to photograph anything. Not going to use objects under the camera, nothing. I'm just going to draw it straight out with my hand. And so that's what I did. And in fact, that was the decision that propelled me through the project. And I kept at this, and sometimes days would go by, like a weekend would come, and I would sit down to draw a card, and it would go more quickly than I anticipated. And on some days I would do 2. On some days I even did 3 every now and then, very rare. And on quite a few days I was unable to finish even 1 and had to spend, 5 days on 1 because I had trouble. But so it's an interesting progress through a deck of 78 cards, and especially how when you approach, I did the majors first with very vague notions of what I would do to handle the minors on the court. But I did the majors, and by the time I got to around, 10 cards, I was like, oh, I'm actually going to get through this. I've got 10 already. I was like, if I can finish the majors, then I'm home free. And so I kept working, and I finally, on that day when I hit the 21st card, the 22nd counting the Fool, and finished the majors, I knew that I had finished for the most part, but that I knew I had a few cards I would have to go back and revisit a little bit. But that's fine. Nonetheless, the project had reached a major milestone. And then I was like, okay, well, I've got to now tackle these court and minor. And I was like, oh, wait, I really don't have a good enough idea about how I'm going to handle this, because then you get in to the system of the tarot, which is the suits and the numbers and those things. And how are you going to handle these court things? How are you going to do the king and queen and knight and page? And how are you going to handle the number cards? What's your general angle here? But I found literally that the best thing for me to do was to just start drawing without even just say, here's number ace, number 1, and just pick a suit. And I picked cups initially to start with. Okay, so draw a cup. Just draw a cup in the center. And sure enough, you do that. Once you draw something, then other things start to click and happen, and the flow starts to occur, and you find ways of putting pieces together. And I found my general approach to those cards. And of course, then the court. I just found my own way of doing it. And you sometimes find, without having the plan nailed down, you find simply by starting to scribble, jot things down. And the scribbling is really where it's at, because it makes your mind flow more easily, because you think about things in a more open way when you start scribbling, because you're scribbling. You're not making the thing yet. You're just sort of kicking things around, and you're loose and you're free and easy because you're not obligated to get anything right. That's what's great about just scribbling things down. Doodling is what I'm referring to. That's the word, not scribbling. Doodling. And you can do that anywhere. You can do it on an envelope or a piece of paper, or you can have that same approach on a computer if you want. Whatever it is you use, you can take the scribble approach, and it starts to lead to good things. It gives you basically what the wands give you, that inspired, like, oh my gosh, I got it. I've got something. I'm onto something. Accidentally, I drew this cool little thing, and now I kind of know what I'm gonna be doing here. So it's a very wands thing to do, to start doodling. Yeah. I don't even call them wands in my deck. I actually don't like the word wand. It's sort of a silly word. It's been ruined by Harry Potter, I think. You can't really use that word anymore. Oh, Angelic, hi. How are you? Yeah, sure. Do what you need to do. I'm going to be here for a bit. I have been musing about tarot deck and drawings, I guess, for the past half hour or so. But so, yeah, the doodling approach to creativity, very important. It's like you're storyboarding your own, your ideas gradually. And what you doodle can be, you accidentally stumble upon shapes or approaches you didn't realize you were going to take. And then you look and go, oh, that's actually a nice sword. Wow, I I can draw the swords that way. I didn't really even realize that. Or, oh, I just found a way of drawing shadows that's actually really interesting and it looks good. Just by accident, by just scribbling sort of nonchalantly while I was watching TV. So that is a part of what I do when I draw something, because I'm not a real artist. I have to basically say, look, I want to draw this tarot deck. I want to make a deck that's my own. And that's the key. This is how this is the deck that comes out of me one way or another. Whether it's done properly or not, it is the expression of tarot from me uniquely, without trying to live up to anything else. It has to be your own absolute expression of tarot. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to arbitrarily, massively change things, because I like the basic structure of the tarot. I like sort of the classic. I like having the 4 suits there. I like having them the same basic things as they typically are. I like those things. I have a simple view of these things. I also like to maintain a rather toy-like attitude toward the tarot. It is a form of toy. It's a serious, inspirational toy. It does not have the terrifying quality of, or the overwhelming quality of certain religious objects. It allows you to think in the vein of spirituality and religion in a more childlike, creative, free manner. That isn't to say that I haven't been underwhelmed by some approaches to tarot I've seen online. There's a tendency in tarot that I've noticed to get very pastel-y and nice, as if we're going to the local book club meeting. And, okay, that just bores me. I like things that are a bit more awkward and messy and have their dark corners. And, I'm not too fond of making things very, very pleasant and gentle and sort of corporate-y. Like, we could bring this into a corporate human resources gathering and show people how to be their best at work and at home, and how to relax and not be too much, don't be too don't let yourself be overworked. Take free time, do meditation. And, these things sound good, but of course, if they're presented to you in a corporate manner by a corporate workplace, you or I immediately, all my alert flags are up. What's this? This is what? This is corporate self-help for people that are expected to do something, and I'm not quite sure what that is right now. Hi, Peach. How are you? Hello. So this is my thing about tarot. There's a lot of cool stuff around for tarot, but sometimes things with tarot just start to get this nice, pleasant little cheery edge that I'm like, you see it in websites and stuff, and the websites that talk about numerology, numerology and tarot or whatever. You see nice, pleasant fonts, sweetness, and it's like, okay, well, that's cute and nice and everything, but it doesn't get me inspired. I want to see some Dante's Inferno in the tarot. I want to see it there. Hi, Virgo, how you doing? I want to see a little sort of, I want to see the frayed edges around tarot a little bit. I'm good. I'm up to my usual tricks here. I did a 10-card spread just a few minutes ago. Went through the Celtic Cross reading, and that's always, I love the Celtic Cross because, you're better than yesterday. Ha! Well, that's good because tomorrow's Friday, and there's a weekend coming. And I just did a 10-card reading, basically taking us into the weekend. And it said, basically, get out of yourself, stop dwelling on your own emotions, and get out and do something that you feel like you kind of want to do just for the hell of it, or just to make something or go do something. And, tell yourself that you're not going to sort of withdraw and think about the past too much. And you'll find that if you do this, you may have a whole new outlook in a few days and start making bigger plans for things that you want to do in the next few weeks. And this will have a real sort of pick-me-up quality. Now, very positive, actually, and it was a totally optimistic reading. And here I am criticizing tarot that's too cheerful. I am a fountain of contradictions sometimes when I open my mouth. But, the tarot has both things, and it can certainly accommodate good cheer and pleasantness just as well as it can accommodate all of its frayed edges. So these are all just preferences that a person has, and those preferences they change. They go in cycles and waves with just even with my own view. I will turn around in 3 weeks and contradict what I'm saying and say, you know what? I just want really nice. I want to be really pleasant and nice and have everything look cheerful and sweet and and I'll do it. Yeah, okay, Virgo. I see you. I got you. You're in the queue. You're up. Next up. Good. So I get to switch over to the real cards now, right over here, and I have them. I've been shuffling them. And I kind of like shuffling tarot cards because it stresses them a little bit and it makes them look older. But yeah, with the whole tarot card thing, not only have I been doing the deck, but then I was like, I'm going to design the whole thing. I'm going to design the whole package and booklet and everything. And so my booklet, I'm using the meanings very, very shortened that I built into my tarot app. So basically what I do is I go into my app and I look at what I said, or the keywords that I put for upright and reversed for all the cards. And I'm using those for my little, how tarot decks come with, usually they have a little tiny booklet in there. And I kind of like that idea of the little booklet with my own little word meanings for everything. No question. Okay, love is on your mind. Okay. All right. Love is on your mind. It could be a song. Could be a song. Maybe it probably is. Love is on your mind. It could be a radio song. I'm telling you. It could be a top hit, a top 40. All right. Let's pull 3 cards out of this magical pile. Give me a second and I'll do that. All right. Let's start with, I've been doing this the last couple of days with the sort of, I call it my mountain peak tarot spread, where you look at the center top card here as the sort of the thing that's used most visible, like the iceberg tip sticking up out of the ocean. This is the part you can see and sort of get a grip on most easily. And it's basically the center thing for us to be thinking about. So as we turn the cards over, we've got the Knight of Wands reversed. And then we have the Chariot upright in a foundational position. And so we come up with another upright card, the 9 of Coins. We're talking about love. Now, let's look at the center of this thing. Here we've got passion, again, showing us the wands. And of course, the Knight is the active principle. The Knight is the person who goes out and seeks and takes whatever action is necessary and is sometimes a bit, can do it without a lot of planning, a lot of thought, can be a little impulsive. And that's what the warning is with the card reversed, is you be careful of being impulsive. On the flip side of that, be careful of being stagnant and not going out the door. So, love, being a bit down, feeling maybe a bit withdrawn for various reasons. This Knight comes into the picture as a potentiality, something that we want to get ourselves to be. We want to say, what is it that I can do? I need to get up. I need to get out of this same old feeling that I'm letting it keep me down. I'm feeling a little low. I'm not particularly energetic and creative. I'm not pursuing things that I really know that I love to do, or I'm not fully engaged with a particular person. And so the mountain peak here is saying, look, this is a critical aspect of our love subject. This is critical, and this is a court card, so this means that it's much more sort of central to our personality. It has more to do with us than it's not on a day-to-day basis. This is something that kind of influences us for a while. It's something we keep our eye on for a while because it's something that keeps coming up for us, and we have to deal with this. We have to deal with the fact that we may not have been able to get out and do exactly what we wanted to do or feel what we wanted to feel. We've been afraid of our passions, of our intuition, and we've been resisting things. That's what that reversed Knight is telling us, and we have to be very conscious of this blockage in order to move through it. Now, of course, on the foundational side, here we have On the left, which we can sort of feel is our more intuitive side, the Chariot, a major card, which is saying, I am able to trust myself and my intuitions. If I have an intuition that I need to get past this problem that's sticking up here, this inability for me to go out and seek and take action and be bold, I can deal with that ultimately because I have this huge power within me that I've relied upon in the past. This is on the left. This is intuitive. It's also past. It's foundational in this reading because it's taken a lower position. I do that with full awareness of what I'm doing. That's why I call it the mountain peak. It's a way of doing a 3-card spread that has a slightly different twist to it. That's all. And so this Chariot is full of confidence, full of ability, full of the ability to solve, the ability to go out and not only confront others and prevail, but the idea that you can confront yourself. You can confront the different parts of your own personality and parts of your personality that you know can sometimes hold you back, that sometimes can take over. And so this Chariot person is the figure who celebrates their own power and knows that they have incredible ability to handle all of this, to handle themselves, the different aspects of their own persona, and they can prevail, and the outcome is victory. That's what the Chariot is suggesting in this foundational position. And it's saying, because it's so foundational, it's saying, build upon this strength of character. Build upon this quality that you have and that everyone recognizes in you. And it's on the left. Remember that it is in full support of your intuitive, creative principle here that is being shown in the center issue. So this will energize this and break through the resistances in order to right side up this night to put you into action. Now, let's look over on the more conscious level on the right, foundational principle, something you can build on and rely on. That 9 of coins, that very material, success-oriented, work-oriented, reward-oriented, earth symbol of the coins. The body, the money, the food, the work, the house, everything that you need and require, everything you need in order to be outwardly a success. And it's good that it's on the right side here because this is the conscious right side we are talking about here. So it ties together the confident persona in the intuitive realm, able to influence and power the engine of your creative passion here and break through your recent sort of issues. And we're talking originally here about the love subject. And when I say creative energies here, it means that creative energy, that passion that you put into the entire subject of love, the whole life that your heart takes on and your passions take on. And this success Chariot, this confident person, fires you through to take the action you need to build a relationship, perhaps. That is the creative act here that we're getting closer to. And on the conscious level, you bring yourself toward real success, real comfort, safety, security, and physical well-being. And this involves not only the physical well-being of things you need, but physical relationship with someone, where a relationship, the love is a combination of all sorts of different energies. And there's the mental, there's the heart, there's the body, all of that. And also it financial. People in relationships, there's all there. Where are we going to stay? Early on, it can be who drives us here, who pays for dinner, all those things. But this is a success. This because it's upright. Now, the 9 always indicates a kind of a continued effort to bring the full flowering of something into being. And so what this is saying is, yes, you're going to have all this energy to propel yourself forward in love, and you're going that fire will start because you've got this power in you, and it's coming out. Your unconscious mind is driving you toward opening the door and stepping out and doing this. And the work that you put in over here, you will become very aware of where it's leading and what success it's having for you. So there you go. That's I'm actually kind of liking what I call my little mountaintop, the 3-card reading. I'm sort of liking it. I kind of think it has possibility for a little refinement in how the 3 cards are viewed. So that, and not only that, but I was talking earlier, speaking of, my mountaintop spread, having an approach to tarot where you sort of are able to develop this little language. It's almost like how fun it would be to sort of, you go around to things, you got a little tarot deck in your pocket, or in your bag or whatever it is you carry. You got this little raggedy tarot deck, and you can whip it out at any moment, anywhere you happen to be, at dinner, and a friend goes, "Oh my God, I didn't know you read tarot." And you're like, yeah. And they're like, "Oh my God, I'd love a tarot reading." And you're like, "Well, let's go into the living room and sit around the coffee table. I'll give you a reading." And you could just pull it out and do a reading. But the ability to make up different spreads and treat them sort of as a little language of tarot that you can adapt to whatever moment you find yourself in for a tarot reading, I think is a really cool thing. And I'd like to sort of develop that more. Because that ability, it's like, you can read tarot books and you see the recommendations for different spreads, but it's not that hard, it's not that easy to remember a tarot spread you've read about in a book. You really have to kind of train yourself to remember what that spread is. And if it gets above 3 cards, it starts to get a little like, oh, how was that again? The card on the left is what? But if you develop instead an ability to make them up in the moment based upon your ability to sort of ascertain what the subject that's come up is all about, and the people involved, and how you think the listener will respond best, and to breaking down the question or the subject into a little spread, and you can just sort of make this up. It's almost like a spread in tarot is a sentence in a book, or a paragraph in a book, and your ability to make those little things on your own without reference to some pre-existing spread that you had to try to memorize. Hydroscrying and working with that like tea leaves, but different. Oh, interesting. See, angelic, this is it's very similar. It's very, very nice process. It's very creative to develop your own. Yes, it's like develop your own fortune-telling method, basically. You know what I mean? It's your own sort of thing, and you can do that with tarot. You can do it with any. You can adapt. You can form it to your own creative, your own best sort of ideas. You know, so I like that whole. That's what I'm trying to do, is be sort of flexible with the sentences of tarot. So, yeah, love, getting the energy to pursue what it is you want, getting out through the door and having that confidence that you can see it through and it will bring reward. I think that's a nice little statement for love. And I see Angelic, you're back. Oh yeah, you can do readings. You can do readings with playing card. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there are people who do that with regular playing cards. Reiki, yeah. You're welcome, Virgo. Well, hello, Queen. How are you? Yeah, you can join the queue. Yeah, I know. VR tarot deck. Oh, you know, there actually is a VR app, or there was, where you'd go into a little, it was like a caravan, like one of those caravans where, you know, there's a fortune teller inside. And so you go in there in VR and you're sitting in a caravan, and there's a tarot deck on the table. And I think there's a crystal ball, and there was something else, but you could choose which kind of thing you wanted the fortune teller to do of these three things. I think it was like runes, crystal ball, and tarot deck. And so I would always pick the tarot deck, and they actually had a really nice little partially animated tarot deck in there, but it was all in full VR. Yeah, like on an Oculus Rift. It was just nice to sit in there and look around inside the caravan at the fortune teller's little place, you know. Oh yeah, I know exactly. When AR and VR mix, yeah, and you can just sort of see like an augmented deck on the table in front of you. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, they'll have that. That would be a great thing to have. As long, you know, I mean, they have to figure out a way to make VR actually really sellable. And I really enjoy VR, but I also know that with VR, they haven't been moving very well forward on really great new things. Most of the things now are like 5 years old. And they really have to fix that. And, you know, things like cool tarot, AR, VR, all that kind of thing, people want that. They will want that stuff. Yeah, VR chat. Yeah, I have to do more. I have a VR chat account, so I can go in there. I've just only been in there like 3 times because I used to do Altspace, and I used to host tarot events. I built a tarot temple and imported it into AltSpace, and I would do live tarot events in there, and it would get pretty crowded. It's really fun, but I've never tried that in VR chat because I'm just like, AltSpace closed, and now I'm like, wow, you have to start all over and learn a whole new one. Oh, okay. Queen, you are up. I got you in the queue. There you are. And I'm sure you've been hearing what we've been talking about. So, Queen, you can you can pick a subject and let me know what it is you'd like to focus on here, and I will probably do another one of my what I call my mountaintop spreads. I think I have to pick a better name because it's only a 3-card spread. You can't really call it a mountaintop. Subject is ... Oh, you don't even have to pick. You don't have to feel obligated to pick a subject. You can just say, I want to be really vague and just get a general impression. Okay, let's talk. The subject is you. I mean, that's a totally legitimate, yeah. What we'll do is we'll ask the mountaintop 3-card spread. We'll say, okay, look, Queen just wants to sort of focus on themselves and not have anything specific. There's no specific problem we're dealing with. It's just a nice little window into the soul, so to speak. All right. So let me do a couple more little shuffles over here. Okay, so what I do is I basically treat this top, the mountain peak, as the central sort of idea, the central open window into yourself, basically, that we're looking at. And then we have on the left side here the more intuitive part of you, and on the right is the more conscious aspect of your personality. So let's just look here. All right. Hanged Man right away is reversed. Now, that is a powerful card, and it speaks of the ability to pause one's own mind, quiet one's mind, and wait. It's a very meditative card. It's the clearing out of stress, of ideas. It's the relaxing, the waiting. And what you're waiting for is new perspectives. You don't feel the pressure to be any particular thing. Reversed it can mean that there's a little bit of a little nervousness in this area, maybe a little concern about what I am supposed to be, who I am supposed to be. And the Hanged Man is there to say, be aware if you are having a similar reversal to this, if you are having any sort of doubt about taking your time, developing gradually towards something or developing into something, don't worry. Let the time be taken. Let yourself hang there, almost like how how they always say the caterpillar turns into the butterfly and they hang in a cocoon. They hang from a tree, from a twig or something, and they hang there, and it takes time. And then after that time slowly goes by, the beautiful butterfly emerges. That's very much what's going on with the hangman. It's that ability to hang quietly and let all the worries go. See everything from a whole new perspective that's actually quite humble. And let yourself sort of slowly evolve into where it is your actual true self, how you truly feel about who you are and what's going on. It can be very general about yourself. It can be very specific to a certain situation, but it's that ability to just sort of stop all the wheels from turning and let yourself do this, what do they call it? A chrysalis, how you metamorphosize, or you metamorphose into something else, or into what it is that you are really trying to become. And so the card here is saying this is the main point to make. Now, let's go over into this intuitive side and look at what we're seeing. This card is right side up. And we have an 8. And an 8 is a very, very sort of a balancing force. And it's our heart. It's your heart. It's your feeling. It's your love. It's your emotional life. And it's on the left. And your more intuitive, the more intuitive part of you, the part of you that speaks in dreams, the part of you that you sort of feel like is your whole intuitive sense of other people and how you view yourself, and those ideas that are sort of hard for you really to get a grip on. It's almost like remembering dreams, this part of you. And this 8 is all about the effort to keep yourself, your feelings, your heart in a kind of balance where you're trying to find the balance that harmonizes and makes yourself feel good and makes everyone around you feel good about things. And you put the work in. You're constantly aware and trying to make these situations where the heart is allowed to express itself freely, and there's a balanced sort of a feel. There's a general sense of joy that comes with the 8. It also implies the ability to change circumstances by putting this work in, this continued applied effort and skill. And this change then becomes possible. So unconscious work is going on with you that you're not fully aware of, and it's affecting your feelings. And this is a very positive, beneficial growth with your feelings here. That, in fact, will influence the central point of how you allow yourself the time to develop without forcing yourself. So these unconscious factors really help with slow, steady development. And we're talking here, there's a large element of your heart involved here. Now, moving over to a more conscious and aware factor, we have a knight showing up of swords, reversed. Now, this is the very much a thinking and dealing with problems and conflicts. Okay. And the knight is active, energetic, and just takes care of these things without any kind of foolishness whatsoever. Okay. Reversed, however, in the conscious position here is suggesting that you are going to be reminding yourself that you have to be careful about being bold and too active and trying to be too much of too clever. So it's basically saying if this unconscious development is going on with all of this feeling here, and it's what's required to help you develop quietly and take your time, then you better be careful about letting your mind race off down the road and jump into things and get yourself into situations too quickly. That's why this knight is reversed in the conscious position. That's basically what you have to kind of tell yourself. Be careful. We don't need to be a bold knight barreling down the road right now. We need to be the hanged man. We need to quietly develop in a gentle manner. That's what this reading is pointing at. Just as a little, an aspect of yourself. And maybe you can find a place in your life where such a reading applies. Hi, Arctic. Let me, I see Angelic, I see you're in the queue there. So Queen, yes, that, a little, it's like a little snake. You know what it's like? It's like a little tarot Polaroid snapshot of yourself to sort of refer to. Remember the Hanged Man card. That's really the key here. Remember the idea of just taking some time and being quiet and gentle with yourself is what it's saying. Good. That's good, Queen. And I see Simanti, I see Arctic. Angelic is up now. So Angelic, you can just go ahead and pick a subject matter. And let me get the cards and start my shuffling business here. Quite a regular day or quite a tarot day, Arctic? Both. Okay, Angelic. The subject is someone approached for type of business opportunity. You've been thinking on it for a while, but still undecided, so would like to know what the cards say. The cards will never try to tell you specifically whether to do a business thing or not, of course. They will try and clarify where you feel you are and what you may have. There may be an avenue for thinking on it that you have not tried. And the tarot may say, well, here's a possibility for you. I'm totally obsessed with this mountaintop thing. And we can adapt it to this quite easily. So I'm going to start pulling cards. All right. A business opportunity. When somebody approaches someone and starts talking about business, it's human nature to wonder about that person. Can that person be trusted? What do they want? How well do I know them? They could be a very close friend that I've known for 30 years, or it could be someone that you haven't known for half an hour yet. It's human nature to wonder about that person because people coming together in something like that always involves an element of risk, which makes us, to some degree, nervous. That's why, we have to work our way through these things. So tarot reading can kind of get us centered and focused and at least able to say, oh yeah, this is basic human nature. I have to remember that these feelings are totally natural. They happen. Yeah, about being comfortable with them and not sure how it will gel. Right. Well, you never really do know. Let's look at the center. Let's look at what sort of pops right up. Oh boy. Look what came up. That card is the very essence of gelling. The Two of Cups. It's gelling 101. It basically means two people on a very similar wavelength coming together and opening their hearts and following something that they both really could really love. And that is the central, topmost mountain peak, tip of the iceberg that we're looking at here. It could represent your hope. This is what you would want. If you were going to say, yes, I'll do this business with you, you would want this kind of a relationship. You would want, this is called, they used to use the word copacetic. This is when two people meet and they start shooting ideas back and forth and they both say, wow, I have not felt this like connected and on the same wavelength with someone in years. So this is actually really interesting in this particular circumstance. There's an accumulation in the two. In other words, the project hasn't kicked off yet. This is two people coming together and sharing their ideas and feelings and plans. This is, and because it's cups, they're very connected in sort of they feel the connection. They feel like they feel like they can trust each other. You can't have the Two of Cups without including the word trust. It's built into it. So that's a very, very positive signal coming down from the mountain here. Now, let's look here. Okay. On the left, we have a reversal. And it's the Emperor. Now, this is in sort of the unconscious area underneath all of this. This is kind of like, well, okay, it's telling, it's signaling something to look out for, basically. And the Emperor reversed is kind of like the idea that there is perhaps a lack of confidence that has to be dealt with. A concern about the actual implementation of plans and one's ability to control a business or a project, and to take and exercise the power required to manage it, to move it in the direction it needs to go, to handle people, to take care of problems around it. That concern here is somewhat unconscious. It could be a fear that you have had or dealt with in the past that could be a factor in how you mull this over in the next little while and have to get over maybe some worries that you might have about being able to be a boss. Okay? That's why the card is reversed. Think of the Emperor in this situation kind of as a boss, a business owner, let's say. And these concerns about, can I do this really in the practical requirements of this? Am I going to be able to meet those requirements? Can I be effective at this? These are these unconscious doubts that may arise in dreams, that kind of thing around this subject. Now, let's move over here and look at a more, okay. Now, this is a reversal. It's another 2, and it's in the realm of money, and this is the realm of work. So what this is now talking about is actually the ability. So if there's unconscious worries about putting yourself in charge of a business here that may be influencing how you think around this very positive coming together of two forces here, then over here, something you are aware of consciously and can actually think about very clearly is the difficulty of putting things together that are necessary to accomplish this. It could mean money. It could mean location. It could mean people, manpower, any of the practical or one's own physical capacity for handling the requirements, that kind of thing, even beyond actual financial investment. But those concerns over here that you are acutely aware of mentally here and having to solve those crises is what this reversal is suggesting, that there are concerns here that you are going to have to deal with. This reading is meant to be, the center of the reading is this coming together of the two forces, the two people. And it's a very positive card that speaks very encouragingly about this relationship. These issues, one internal and one much more mental and external, are the concerns that would in fact be normal for anyone pondering a business they would have. And so there's nothing to worry about with these two. These are simply saying you've got to figure out a way to build the confidence here, to find out realistically if you can actually handle this business, and here if you can adequately contribute the resources required to maintain this business. You have to think all of these things through very carefully, in addition to having this very positive initial coming together. And that's the reading. It's actually very realistic, I think. I think pretty much any business person would say, yeah. Many partnerships start out with very, very good connections between people, but they run into difficulty with practical matters and resources, and they have to work those through, which is going to take effective management over here, getting past any doubts about that in this position here. Mental energy for it, yeah. That mental energy is a resource, and that could affect your decision if you don't have the mental energy and you realistically arrive at that. But who knows what your timing is, but smart business people don't rush things. And they also talk to people who have experience to get their advice. They also talk to people who know how to manage money, a money manager, people like, people who, or an accountant or someone, to get actual, a real professional perspective on potential and stuff. Yeah. So that's another important thing. I always say, you never make a business or financial decision based on the tarot. You use the tarot to remind yourself of things you may have forgotten and possible ways of looking at the whole situation to get your mind, like, they call it sometimes thinking out of the box. Companies use that a lot. It's something that's highly prized. Being able to think out of the box and look at things from new angles. Tarot is really good for that. That's right. That's right, Arctic. Talk to a successful business person and get their advice, see what they think. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you can't just do it all yourself you can't just go buy a few books and look at YouTube and do everything all by yourself. You really do need a little bit of real direct sort of back and forth with someone who knows. Yeah. I hope that helps in some way. And I see Simanti, you are up. So, Simanti, you just pick your subject and let me know. The reading was exactly spot on and perfect and really helped you see having these concerns not ridiculous. Now to go forward. Good. Yeah, That's good. You're very wise to have concerns and to be pondering it. Absolutely. You don't just go, oh yeah, let's do it. No matter how good a relationship you have with somebody, it's business. You don't just jump into things without really having a very clear understanding of what you're doing. Are you still there, Simanti? I wonder if Simanti was like, this is taking too long. I'm gonna go. If Simanti is not there, then Arctic. I'll give Simanti another minute, because sometimes people, they run to get a drink from the fridge or something, and then they come back. I don't think Simanti is here. Yeah, I think Simanti left. So, Arctic, you are up. You have a crush on this guy? A bit complicated. You want to know how's it looking, or if you should reach out. You have a crush on the guy. Let me think. Okay, well, let's just. I mean, it's a love relationship reading, and we just want to get a sort of just a picture, and see what it suggests to us about it. This time I'm going to cut the deck and take the 3 cards straight off the top. And let's just jump right to the main heart. Okay. Something's about to change big time, is what that card comes up and says. This card is representing the end of something, and that end, that death, so to speak, is grist for the mill. It's the fertilizer that gets churned into the soil for the next year's crop. That's what the character is doing in the card. The character's tilling things down into the soil that have passed in order to prepare for the next season. So that is a central aspect of what's happening here. Something has left. There's something perhaps that you are needing to finish and get past and forget. Forget is perhaps not the right word. To move on from and use what you have learned where you're going next. Now, let's come in here and look a little bit more at the idea, and we'll say, instead of looking at these as intuitive and conscious, we'll look at these as past and more upcoming. Now, these are reversals, okay? So the King of Cups. King of Cups is kind of a, the king, he knows himself or herself. They know their heart. They know their feelings. They're secure in their feelings. They're stable in their feelings. They understand them. They're very experienced in the ways of the heart, and they never let it get the best of them. In reversal, it's kind of the opposite. There's kind of a little lack of control. There's there's not so much confidence in your feelings. It's a little more impulsive, and your feelings can run a little bit hot or out of control and get the better of you a bit. And so what this means is simply kind of, as you move forward from what you're leaving in the past, you can kind of leave that out of control aspect also. So as you move toward the next thing that this card very powerfully implies, keep an eye on how it affects your balance of mood, okay? And the idea being to try to gain a little bit more understanding of how your feelings operate, what upsets you, what makes you feel good, and find out how to sort of get a more, not necessarily full control of your feelings, but sort of a perspective on them where you can step a little bit outside yourself and see how you might be overreacting to things now and then, or getting a little too obsessed with things. That's what this card is telling you to be aware of, okay? And try to get away from being impulsive and a little bit overly concerned with momentary emotional reactions. The king doesn't have momentary emotional reactions. The king wants to be more steady and reliable in his feelings, longer term feelings. This may be also saying, try to get away from short term things and be a little bit more stable in a more committed kind of a thing. It could possibly mean that. Now, on the right, you have strength, force, a major card. You've got two major cards showing up in this reading and a court card. So these means that these are things that are very sort of important and affect you rather deeply. Now, the strength card is one's ability to master situations, to influence others, but also it's one's ability to influence one's own more animalistic or more instinctive tendencies. This actually plays with this. It reinforces the message here. Try to get away from impulsive, short-term, overreactive emotionalism. Well, over here, it's saying, try to master yourself. There may have been some issues there in the future where you're heading here on this right-hand side. Try to get past whatever it is that allows you, is a feeling of weakness perhaps, that allows some emotions to run away with you, and maybe things upset you for a longer period than they might if you were able to sort of start getting a more of a mastery over your own reactions, what seems to be very instinctive reactions can be understood and kind of controlled as we become aware of them here. That's what this card is about. So the big message here is you're leaving something, putting something in the past, and you're moving into something new, a whole new potential for growth. And keep in mind that you're going to have to make efforts to have more understanding and control over your own feelings and reactions and how feelings make you behave. This is important. Okay, let me see what you're saying here. You're you're doing a big move in the next month. He lives right behind you, but we're going to be far apart. You do have a bit of history. It's complex. Probably the impulsive and obsessive. I always check on his profile on social media, and lately he hasn't been active, so you're getting worried. There you go. There it is. This is what these cards are talking about. And okay, but you can't help but think he's someone for you. You lack confidence. Always been told you need assurance. Okay, so the cards are basically saying here, look, let's leave certain things in the past. Let's move forward. Maybe that's talking to your feelings that you may get obsessive about certain things. You may check. You may be a bit impulsive with your feelings. These cards are simply saying, as you move forward, you're going to have a profound kind of a change coming. You will be leaving a part of your life, and a new thing will be starting. And just be aware of these issues that you are aware of, and attempt to master them with your own strength of personality over here. In other words, check yourself. It's almost like, very simple actually, that strength card, mastering the instinctive. It's almost like the very common advice people always give people. Just stop and take a breath and hold it and count to 3 before you answer the person that's upset you. And you'll see that you can master your feelings that way and avoid outbursts and avoid making things worse. If you just pause briefly in your mind for a moment and take that little breath and go, okay, now I'll answer. That's what's being said here. Well, good. A university and that's going to be fun. I mean, whole new adventure. There you go. Not only that, but you'll be learning. So what could be better? Okay, now, Cookie, it's you. You're very welcome. Very welcome, Arctic. I haven't seen Cookie talking, so I'm concerned that Cookie isn't here. Oh, there you are, Cookie. Hey, being new to tarot readings is the best. Oh, the general principle, Cookie, is the cards won't give you a specific thing to do. General is always good. I mean, if you have a specific question, it can be a very specific subject. The cards will give you things to consider, They're not going to tell you to do this or that, X, Y, or Z, or where to spend your money or anything like that. They give you inspiration and things to think about. This isn't quite the right sentence. The Q for... oh, you're right. That's not quite right, is it? It's like... it's kind of... there's like a word missing, isn't there? Angelic. There's some... the Q4 has closed. It doesn't make any sense. That's probably me being blind. So, Cookie, what do you think? Yeah, Cookie's here. Yeah, sometimes I'm the worst typist. I'm still shut. Okay, here we go. All right, Cookie. Will I be able to handle the upcoming stress of the school year? Is basically your question. And starting a big year of school and not exactly sure about the classes I've chosen and the new environment. So basically, you have stress about that. Yeah, of course, that works as a question. That's great. No, that's really good. Okay. Yeah, a big year of school. Stress. I remember that really clearly. I was like, I was the basic. Yes, yep. And not being sure about class. Yeah. I remember. Okay. Let's. All right. Knight of Wands, creative, fire energy. This is your you know, the central issue here. You're not sure about some classes. Big year of school, a little nervous, new environment. The Knight reversed. That creative energy, that instinct to drive you forward, to make, to learn, to do things. This is simply expressing your hesitancy as being the center of this issue. That's all that's representing, really. And that this can flip quite easily, because a normal hesitancy about a new school environment, what could be more normal? So this reversed Knight isn't permanently flipped or anything. He's just expressing the momentary nervousness you have about a change of environment and having to pick your path through this new school thing. And so the Knight will soon turn himself right side up, and you will within probably a matter of days, and you will find yourself making your decisions much more easily. Now, to help you with those things, dealing with this central issue of the moment for you, is here on the left, we have sort of an unconscious factor. And then here on the right, we have a conscious, a very conscious factor. All right, let me, the first thing we see with you is the Fool on the left. Okay. Now, the Fool is not meaning fool in the sense of being silly. And the Fool is right side up. The Fool is one's ability to go out and experience the adventure, to enjoy the adventure without being, getting over one's fears. That's they say about the Fool is They have this almost naive ability to maintain this youthful spirit of enthusiasm, even in the face of risk. And you see, that the fool has their companion with them, the dog, who is joyfully sort of being mischievous and tearing the fool's clothes and being a goofball. And the fool is perfectly content and doesn't care and is just like, whatever. That dog can do whatever he or she wants. I'm doing what I do, and the dog is coming with me, and we're off down the road wherever it may take us. The fool is able to say, I'm going wherever it takes me, and I want to see what comes. I want to see what's thrown at me. I know it's all going to lead to me becoming something better and better. I'm just, I don't know. They tell me to worry. They keep telling me that I'm going to like fall off a cliff or something, but I just can't make myself get so worried. I just want to jump out and go do this. That's how I'm going to take a few things with me and my walking stick, and look at me. I'm dressed in clothes that a hiker doesn't even wear these. I'm wearing clothes that make me happy. That's because I kind of like this whole business of learning. That's what the fool is. So on the left side here, you have in you an unconscious ability that you may not have been aware of to be this adventurer, to be this person that seeks, always goes out looking for something and finds it and takes the path. The fool is the character that starts the tarot and winds their way through the story of all the cards of the tarot as the fool develops a full and complete personality. So that's what you're doing, quite literally, right now, as you embark on this new thing that you're doing, this new trip, this new voyage. The fool is that part of you that says, oh yeah, we're off. Bon voyage. This is going to be great. Okay? Now, coming up, you have this three of wands. The wands are the card that it's full of activity. It's full of putting your passion behind what it is you're doing. So as you go into this new environment, as you pick your classes, the card reminds you to seek that which really fires you, which makes your gut sort of go, yeah, this makes me interested. My interests lie in this direction. And any of a reversal in this card simply means beware of not following your instincts and doing the things that you really feel you are meant to do, that you love to do. Just follow that, and that will make your decisions flow more easily. So, the Fool ability that's ingrained in you, the ability to adventure and to enjoy every little step of the trip along the way, no matter how hard it gets, really does give you the power to make this knight here take action and turn this card into action. These are the same suit. These are both wands. These are both the fire creative energy. So as you move into this new environment, this new school, putting what you really are most interested in the forefront of your mind as a goal is probably an avenue for you that if you at least consider that element of yourself. The Fool always does what the Fool wants to do. The Fool is always interested and wants to follow their heart. Okay? And this whole reading is leaning toward following your passions. What is it you really want to learn how to do? you'll know soon, because the fool is simply going to find it just by walking down the path. And he's not going to be worried about not being able to find it. You know you can rely on yourself to see it, to know it when it's in front of you. That's basically what's being said here. Cookie. Yep. I hope that helps. I hope that gives you a little boost toward trusting yourself to handle the situation. You know, speaking about myself, I remember being really anxious about going to a new school. I remember way back into high school being really, really, really concerned and anxious. And on the very first day, meeting someone who I walked home from school with, and we became best friends for years and years. And all of a sudden, it literally took one day for me to decide that everything was fine. All you have to do is find one little thing to make you feel comfortable. Good, Cookie. That, when you're doing things like that with school and making decisions, I know it can be, you feel like if I make the wrong decision, then don't I set myself up for like the wrong path in life? It's funny though, life actually doesn't really work that way. You'll find that you can even make mistakes and, change your mind about things. Keep that Fool card and their constant enjoyment of the whole darn process. Keep that Fool card in mind whenever you start stressing out. If you just remember the Fool as sort of being there in your back pocket, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to worry. I got this. Now, Riot, you are next. You are the last one in the queue for the tarot stage. You're very welcome, Cookie. And good luck with those things. So yeah, Riot, you can pick your subject. And let me start my card, messing about with these cards. Oh, did you? No, let me look up. I don't know. You better say it. Okay. So, your subject is love. Okay. I got it. Yeah, the tarot is very good for any question of love. I really like the Cups suit. One little specific thing I'll say about Cups because of love is as I was drawing the Cup suit, I realized that I had to redraw my cups because I had drawn them straight ahead as outlines, but had neglected to show the top of the cup sort of with with the opening. And so I was like, I want to reinforce the quality of receptiveness in cups. So I redrew the cups to show the top of the cup with the slate, the opening. And I think it was a good choice. But the reason I say that is because that receptive quality about love is very important. And I felt it had to be visualized. All right, I've shuffled Riot, and I'm going to pick the cards. All right, our little mountaintop reading. Let's pick the peak. 4. We're looking at 4. 4 is stability. Now, reversed, it can mean a couple things. We're talking about love. If you reverse the 4 as the center of our concern here, it can mean that instead of being stable and safe and feeling secure in something, you're actually kind of closing down. There's a defensive aspect to the reversed 4. And it, a little bit too much self-concern, perhaps, a little detachment, perhaps, maybe the idea of being a little too safe in recent decisions. It's a number card. It's not a big deal. These number cards, they are sort of it's almost like a daily changeover with them. Maybe not daily, but they're not huge. They're not oppressive. They don't linger. They're very changeable. That's why I say daily. They go up and down pretty quickly through a person's week, So being a little on the closed down side recently is an issue, but it's not a severe one. There's no big problem here. But it's just sort of saying, hey, there is this, and it would be nice perhaps to be able to step out a little bit past the safe boundaries we've set up for ourselves, we've gotten a little too used to. Okay? Now, we're talking about very earthy sort of material, physical aspects here. Feeling safe in one place, one job, in a physical relationship with someone. If we're talking about love, it could mean that sort of physical attachment that sometimes with someone can play too important a role, and we get a little too concerned with it. We get a little lazy, and we don't maybe what do they say? We don't try to sort of spice life up once in a while, that kind of thing. That reverse 4 is sort of talking about those things, and let's try to break out a little bit and have a little bit more. Try and be a little bit more interesting and experimental here. Take more initiative and try and do a little bit more of the unexpected. Now, let's get into the unconscious sort of influence on the left. Okay, well, King of Cups has shown up, reversed also. So the unconscious, let's look here at the conscious. We have the Hanged Man, who is in the upright position, and he's hanging upside down as he should be. Now, but the here in the unconscious position where you've got the king who knows his heart. He knows the depths of his feelings, and he's able to control his heart. He's able to say, look, I know I'm upset, but I don't get carried away. I master my emotions. Even if somebody can't master their emotions, they can master their actions. They can master their reactions to emotions. You see what I mean? And the king represents that ability to master them. Trouble with that is indicated by the reversal, an inability to master reactions to emotional situations. And the card is simply saying, look, as we work on trying to break out of maybe some boredom, we need to remember that we can have a tendency to lose full mastery of ourselves and let ourselves get a little carried away in various feelings or reactions to things. We can get a little obsessed about our feelings. We can get a little hot-headed. That kind of stuff is what this card is saying. This has to be brought into the open. This is unconscious. This is something you're not particularly aware of or don't want to really face. And it's got to be kind of brought out a little bit more up into the light. And then over here, you have the most powerful card of the reading, a major arcana card, the Hanged Man. What the Hanged Man, let's say hanged person, is doing is taking time, unpressured, to develop. If you are going to try to leave this, a sort of restricted approach to things that you may have had in the past, break out of the walls. Try to become aware of problems you may have with mastering your feelings. Then you need to be able to tell yourself consciously over here that you deserve the time to not have to live up to anyone's expectation of you, whether it's about love or anything else. And you need to be able to just sort of live with yourself, look at yourself, and look at the whole aspect of love and relationship in your life and try to gain new perspectives on it. Look at it from different points of view. Look at it from how the other person might see you. Look at it from the point of view of this king right side up, who is always mastered his emotions or her emotions, always able to say, I know the best way to react here. Even if situations are out of control, I know what to do to make a positive outcome for the other person and for me, for everyone involved. I know how to do that. So the Hanged Man gets you there by giving you the time to learn. The Hanged Man puts himself, his head low. His head is underground almost. He's hanging. He puts himself in a humble position. That's almost like the position of somebody who goes into therapy, who has to at some point say, I need to do that, and I've never wanted to, and I'm not really the type, but I'm going to do it because it's the best thing. It takes a reduction of reliance on ego to be the Hanged Man. Put yourself in this very vulnerable position where he's tied to a tree branch and hanging upside down in the middle of nowhere. It takes a lot of courage to do that. And that's what that card is saying on a very conscious level, because it's on the right side of this spread. It's saying, be aware, think about this, because this could be a real benefit. Take the time to really develop and grow so that you master things and have the mastery and self-awareness in order to be able to break out of restrictions and worries and doubts that you may have had, especially affecting your physical relationships with people. That's what this reading is sort of saying, hey, have you thought about these things? The Hanged Man is the card in this reading that I would say keep primarily in mind. How can you be humble and look at yourself in a new light around how you are in love and relationship, and it will be of benefit. You cannot be the Hanged Man without enormous benefit. It's not possible. I know it seems silly because who'd want to be a hanged person hanging by one foot? It's an incredibly beneficial development card. Good, Riot. I'm glad. I'm glad it does. Yeah. It's important sometimes to be the hangman. I mean, that's the simplest way to put it. So well, good. Thank you, Riot, and I appreciate everyone who comes and takes part. It was really a good night for readings, and I almost wasn't going to do it this evening. I ate dinner, and I almost was too tired to, but then I was like, you know what? Doing this actually kind of, it like increases my energy, but I just have to sit down and do it. And it's an amazing sort of the boost of energy by doing tarot. And so I hope it has that effect on anyone who comes in and discusses. And you don't even have to ask a question. Nobody has to join the queue, if they want. But just listening is, I love listening to tarot things here and there. There are other people, they're doing podcasts, and I've watched streamers on Twitch, and there's always something, that you get just by being quiet and listening. You don't have to say a word. It's just good to hear it sometimes. But anyway, I really appreciate people coming and sort of sharing tarot, You have a great night. I'm glad it helps. Good. If it has tarot, sometimes if it just has a tiny, very gentle effect to just sort of give you that little extra moment where you can catch yourself and think about something you heard in a reading, it works. It has that little tiny bit of benefit. Yeah. All right. So everyone, I am actually going to, it's night, and I'm going to actually finish my day up, and I will come back. I think tomorrow's Friday. I'll come back I'll definitely come back tomorrow or the next day, if not both. I'm just not sure yet. But yeah, so everyone, wherever they are, have a good day or night, and enjoy the tarot. Okay. And I'll see everybody very soon.